Hi,
Hey.
everyone. Welcome to Decoding Your Superpowers. I'm
Mhm.
Teresa Lysam, and I am here with my friend and coaching partner, Linda Karchner.
Hello,
And
everyone.
we have a live person with us today, Kate Goggin. Thank you so much for being here, Kate. We're going to
Mm,
go ahead and dig into her strengths here
mm,
in real time and get her feedback so we can see what, if we're on point, and
mm.
how we can serve you, Kate, in terms of using your strengths for anything in particular. That will be something that we can try. So we are going to go ahead and I want to talk a little bit about today before we get started about the domains.
Mhm.
Okay, there's four domains, four categories that all of the strengths drop into. And I could show that if you feel we should show that, Linda. I do have that pulled up.
Yeah, let's show that.
Okay.
It's probably easier for people to visualize it with a little chart. I love charts.
Yeah, don't we all? So why don't you tell a little bit about the domain
Okay.
concept and while I pull that up.
So, like Teresa was saying, each of the strengths fits into one of these four domains or categories. The one is relationship building, which means that your key phrase is that you love to connect with the right people. The next one is executing, which is someone who loves to make sure things are done the right way. Okay, so well, we can do influencing next. Influencing means that you love to inspire people and move groups of people forward. And strategic thinking is someone who loves to think, create, and or learn. So all strategic thinkers like to think, some of them like to create, some of them like to learn, and some of them like to do both creating and learning. And I'm in that category of I love to think, I love to create, and I love to learn. So we'll see. Kate's sort of shaking her head, nodding her head. So I think she's in the same boat there with me. So those are the domains. And you can see in this little chart that Teresa has for us that each of the strengths is listed there under their corresponding domains in alphabetical order, which is always lovely.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so that's kind of where we're going to be sort of a taking off point, a jumping off point for going through Kate's strengths.
Yeah, and I do want to thank you for that, Linda. I do want to mention that we all have these.
Uh-huh.
It's just there's a dominant domain that
Yeah.
we tend to fall into, and those strengths, that category, that domain seems to be what is most important to us. And
Mm.
it energizes us, and it's just
Right.
how we start everything. So the first thing we do when we're looking at someone's strength report is we add up everything, all the strengths, and put them into one of these categories or two of these
Mm-hmm.
categories.
Mm-hmm.
So some people are pretty evenly split and
Mm-hmm.
some are not. Some are
Yeah.
really dominant in one
Right.
particular
Right.
strength, excuse me, domain. So, and you can see they're all color coded, and that's what we look at. We just count up the colors and put them in the appropriate category or domain. So I'll use both of those words.
Mm-hmm.
Both basically mean the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, Kate, I'm going to stop my share and jump over to your report. Let me go back and share again. So, just kind of keep those colors in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you can see the report now that belongs to Kate, who's been so gracious to come and jump on with us. So we just counted up her top 10. That's where our focus is. The top 10 are our zone of genius, as I refer to it as. And that's where we're the most energized, the most productive, the most creative. Like we are our best selves when we're operating out of these top 10 strengths. The bottom five are not considered weaknesses. They are just de energizing to us. We
Mm-hmm.
just, we're not going to really do anything really well operating from there. Now, that doesn't mean we don't operate from there.
Right.
That
Right.
just means it's better if we try to do what we need to do from these top 10.
Mhm.
And then anything in the middle is just kind of they're neutral. There's really no energy behind any of them. We use them once in a while, but we can typically do everything we need to do from these top 10.
Yep.
Okay.
That's true.
So if you look at Kate, if you want to look at yours with us, Kate, you have a lot of green.
Uh-huh.
A lot of green. You have 5 green, and that falls in the strategic thinking category.
Okay.
So that's a lot. When somebody has 3 of something,
Uh-huh.
that category is important to them. When they have 4, it's gaining in importance. It's more important. And then, 5 is just like, whew, it is really super duper important to
Mhm.
that particular
Mhm.
person. So in your case, it seems like, and please confirm or deny this, that thinking, creating, and learning is really, really important to you and it energizes you.
100%.
I can
Absolutely.
imagine as a writer, editor, author, you do a lot of thinking, creating, learning to write, to edit, things like that. I can imagine.
So,
Yes, and I'm just thinking more about your comment about the top 5
Uh-huh.
strengths that energize you, and those thinking, creating, and learning are kind of my mission statement that I want to do those activities the most because they do give me
Mhm.
energy and
Mhm.
um, I sort of refer to myself as someone who's addicted to learning, and if I can learn something and then write about it and be strategic
Uh-huh.
and create something, and then share it, that's a home
Mhm.
run for me.
oh,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah.
I
And
feel
me
you.
and Linda can relate to that.
Mhm.
We have learner very high as well and input
Mhm.
high. So we're all
Uh-huh.
talking the same language here.
Yeah, we are. We have a little club here.
But sometimes to outsiders, they don't understand that because so much
Yeah.
takes place in
Mhm.
our own head. Other people might see us like, oh, not being as productive, could possibly be seen as lazy, might dismiss the fact that we're all up here and there's all kinds of things going on. Things are happening that are not visible to other people.
Mhm.
I just want to agree with that 100% as well. And in my experience too, it's a sort of a push pull where you you are valued for your thinking and your strategy, but at
Mm,
the same time there's a moment where everyone needs to move forward, and you might be the one who's still thinking and
yeah.
therefore overthinking, right?
Yes.
So I definitely can see in a team environment how it's something to keep an eye on.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's easy to fall into that trap. I love learning. If I had my choice between learning and taking a training as opposed to going and doing something where I would apply what I just learned. No, I'd rather do the learning and I just sit there and absorb it and take it all in. And I think about how I can use it in the future to help other people. But
Mhm.
still,
Mhm.
I love doing that. I mean, it seems like it's a passive activity, but oh my God, I'm like, I feel like a sponge, like I'm
I
absorbing it
know.
all. And
Yeah, you
it's
just
just so
can't get
fun and
enough.
exciting.
My husband is a high executor, and so he'll say, "Did you do such and such?" And I'll be like, "I've been thinking about it."
Mhm. But that could lead to paralysis where we
Oh,
don't take action
totally. Yes.
because we could plan and think about it
Mhm.
forever and not actually do anything with it.
Right.
So we
Yeah.
really have to be careful about that
Mhm.
as
It's sort of
high
a
strategic thinkers.
yes, something to be aware of. And that's why it's important to know our strengths
Right.
because we can know the what we call the balconies and the basements. and how
Mhm.
sometimes we can get stuck in analyzing and thinking and learning, um, and not always doing.
Right, right.
But you have achiever in there, so that probably helps you do things. At number 8, it probably helps you to set some goals and to feel energized by getting some things done.
Yes, absolutely. To-do list,
Mhm,
checklist,
mhm, mhm,
definitely that kind of person. But I
yeah,
am trying to be a lot more open and flexible. And I do find that that's a little bit easier to do with age.
mhm,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, definitely.
And I just want to say that knowing this about ourselves gives us permission as a high strategic thinker, give
Mm,
ourselves permission to take time to think and to
mhm,
learn and to
mhm,
create. I mean, if you don't know that about yourself and you're not allowing yourself that time,
right?
that could be very stressful and that could come out in all kinds of different ways. I know a friend of mine who I coached on her, I dug deep into her superpowers, and she was a high strategic thinker. She is a high strategic
Yeah.
thinker. And that creative piece, when I said think, learn, and create, she had forgotten all about the fact that she loves to create. So
Mm,
that awareness brought her back around to her creative side. And she like just took off on that.
mhm.
It just
Good.
like it was a
That's
piece that was missing.
yeah, that's exciting.
Hmm.
Fantastic.
Mhm,
Yeah. So it's self awareness can only lead to good things, in my
mhm,
opinion.
mhm,
But let's talk a little bit about more that achiever um, strength right there. And then we'll come back around to your secondary domain because you do have a second one that
mhm,
it's probably raises itself and is important to you. But
mhm,
achiever is all about doing, 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 getting things accomplished, achieving those goals. Like that's really energizing, being
mhm,
productive. Like
mhm,
some of us wish we had that
mhm.
higher, but it doesn't mean like I don't have it high. I don't
I
remember
don't
where
either.
it's at. I think
Yeah,
it's
I
in the
don't.
middle or something.
Yeah,
No, it's
my
actually pretty low now that I see my list over there. But that doesn't mean I don't get things done. It's just
right.
not as energizing and as easy for me as it would be for you, Kate.
Right. Yes, I would definitely call myself an achiever. The like I said, the to-do list,
Mhm,
the checklist, that sort of thing. And I do have a sense of accomplishment when that's done. And again, just aging, being a little bit more self-aware, I'm trying to sort of devote more time and energy to the things on the list that are the most important. So
Mm-hmm.
instead of just having a list and checking them off, I'm trying to sort of prioritize them
mhm,
more. And of course, the prioritizing is also linked to that self awareness of, for me, time is become more valuable than money.
Mm-hmm.
mhm,
So I'm trying to constantly have that framework for all those lists or all those ideas or strategies.
mhm.
Well, I'm guessing your arranger, which is at number 10,
I was hearing that
is going
too.
to help with that because a ranger likes to put the parts and pieces, the puzzle together to
Mhm,
make it all flow. And I'm
right.
guessing you're learning to use that arranger in a more intentional way.
Mhm,
Yes, I would say so. This is going to sound very odd, but I love to um, sort of rearrange things in my mind, and
mhm,
that could be furniture, it could be interior design, all those things, but it's always sort of based on a problem solving kind of
right.
challenge.
Mhm,
And you're really hitting the nail on the head in terms of this change of priorities over time, because I I guess I've come to understand that some of that going on in my mind or actually rearranging things has been a bit of busy work, and
Mm,
I want to have work and activities that are a bit more meaningful.
mhm,
yeah, yeah. And I think that does come with age when you have that realization things are not as important as they used to be. But what are you seeing here, Linda? I know you're pulling out some things here. There's so many we could talk about.
Right, with the power of the strategic thinking. Ideation is seeing things that other people don't see, like kind of being able to look outside the box and to come up with thoughts that other people maybe aren't familiar with, to put things together in a way that other people haven't before. Strategic is something where this is a person who loves having strategies and options. They sort of instinctively have the A, B, C, and D, and they're confident that if you get to D, there's a whole rest of the alphabet that you can come up with A to Z plans
Mhm.
and options. And
Right.
then also with input at number 5, in our number 5 strength for all of us is kind of where we get back in balance. If we kind of stray, or we're feeling discouraged, or we're just not sure where to start. So that is, you mentioned this earlier, and you said learning and sharing with other people. That's the piece of input that is so strong. Um, it's someone who accumulates and archives resources, and it could be physical resources, but quite often it's mental learning resources. And being able to share them with other people, that is so crucial
Yep.
for the person with input. They don't want to just keep it to themselves. It's all about having that resource in order to give to other people. And then learner, we talked about like just absorbing the information and the thrill of learning. Like, you don't need a degree, you don't need a certification. You just learn about topics that interest you for the fun of it. And some people think that's sort of crazy, and maybe it is, but we're all on the same crazy boat.
Yes, we are.
And then analytical is being able to look at like causes and effects, the reasons why things happened, analyzing how we got to this point, looking at data,
Yeah.
because data is, for the analytical person, it's more reliable than emotions, feelings, things
Mhm.
like that. So, that just kind of like just seeing all of those strategic thinking strengths in your top 10, it's very powerful. And probably, I mean, I just see that you're just in your niche of where you should be.
Yeah.
And it's
Uh,
go ahead.
oh, I was just going to say thank you for validating how I'm feeling these days because, like you were saying, it might be crazy to other people to
Mhm,
completely dive in, immerse myself in a new topic or a
mhm,
new genre or a new area. And then I not only want to learn it completely and
right.
absorb it, I want to own it. I want to
Mhm.
be able to, like you say, take those notes, gather that data, have those resources, and then share it with other people.
Uh,
And so it's very validating to hear this analysis because if you look at my website, for example, you'll see I wrote a book, which is a memoir, but it's really also a workbook and it shares resources, and that really hits on that mark. But then I also recently wrote a song,
oh, wow.
and I always share this with people. I don't sing, I can't read music, and I can't write music, but I
Wow.
was completely um, absorbed and interested in learning about songwriting. And
Mhm.
so I did write a song, and it took me years to find a musician who could
Yeah.
possibly, embrace that kind of creativity.
Mhm.
That's so off the wall. But I was fortunate to find someone. And
Awesome.
uh, yeah, we just received the copyright registration for it.
Ah,
So I'm
exciting.
so yeah,
Yeah,
I'm very
congrats.
excited, and like I say, your analysis is very validating. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I love the word validating. Sorry, Linda.
Yeah.
I just the validating, because once we know these strengths, yeah, they're confirming, they're validating that thing to for things that we just didn't really give much power to. Sometimes we're dismissive of things that come really easy to us,
Mhm.
and we assume everybody thinks like that. But once you see them like on in front of you like this, you can see like, oh yeah, not everybody thinks like this. Not everybody is a high strategic thinker. They're
Yeah.
all about doing, 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 doing,
Yeah.
doing. And so just to have somebody again outside of your head giving you this information and reflecting back to you is really empowering, and it gives you some leverage. You can learn to use these strengths, these top 10 superpowers, to leverage and
Hmm.
achieve goals.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
thank you again, because it's also really giving me a lot of good information about how I can contribute to teams,
Mm.
and how I can counterbalance on teams,
Hmm.
because um, yeah, I think this is just really valuable and helpful. So thank you again.
Thank you. And I'm just seeing that ideation and strategic together. Like
Yeah.
we pull them out as individual strengths and talk
Hmm.
about them, but in reality, they're working together, they're
Hmm.
partnering. Where they fall in relationship to each other is really, really important. So those at the top have the highest energy. And as they go down through number 10, they're still energizing to you, but they just a little bit less so than
Hmm.
that ideation, creative ideas,
Hmm.
finding patterns like that. Ideation and strategic together, man, they are a powerful duo.
Hmm. I can imagine.
Just want ideas. I'm guessing your brain is just full of ideas constantly.
Uh,
And other people might be outside thinking like, how do you come up with all those ideas?
right.
Like, where did that come from?
Well, I think you all understand, because you share the same strengths. It is sometimes a sense of where'd that come from, right?
Uh-huh.
And because I have the connectedness also, I
Yeah.
mentioned to Teresa earlier that I worked in very large national organizations, and a lot of
Mhm.
times I would be studying the entire organization because I wanted to know how our piece
Mhm.
worked with the entire pie, right? And
Mhm.
um, that wasn't always, let's say, it
Uh,
wasn't how other people wanted to spend their time. It
right.
was a little bit confusing. Why are you spending that kind of time? And yet it was really helpful to have that ideation, the connectedness, the strategic
Mhm.
thinking, so that when there was an issue or crisis or something, I could say, oh, well, that's because this,
Right.
because
Mhm.
I've been studying it all along, and
Yeah.
and this
Saw
is
those
happening.
connections.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Mhm.
that was really, really helpful. But I can see for sure how important it would be to be on a team with other people with other strengths,
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
especially if I was going down the rosy path a little bit too long.
In our ivory tower, a little too long. But
Yeah.
that's
And
a
I'm,
perfect segue to talking about Kate's relationship building
Mhm.
strengths. And also when you said you connected with the songwriter,
Mm.
you also have three relationship building strengths in your top 10. So that means that relationship building is actually a pretty powerful domain for you. Your strategic thinking is super powerful,
Mhm.
but relationship building is also significant for you, and connectedness is part of that. Developer means seeing the positive small steps that someone is making.
Mhm.
Um, as a high developer, a number four developer myself, we often, and maybe you're guilty of this, we often don't develop ourselves and cheer ourselves on for our small progress. We're really good at doing that for other people, but we need to do it for ourselves more. You know what I'm saying.
Oh my gosh, you're singing my song. Absolutely.
And then your adaptability, you actually touched on that earlier when you said as, as you're becoming more mature, you're wanting to be able to go with the flow more and to sort of live in the flow of what's important now. And so those are your relationship building strengths that work very powerfully for you.
Yes, I agree with that analysis as well. And I was mentioning to Teresa at another time that I'm the youngest of six.
Ah,
And so I was I like to say I was born onto a team.
yes.
And I'm happiest in a team work
Yeah,
environment,
yeah,
and
I get
the
that.
connectedness piece of the team is very important, as well as the developer piece. So
Mhm.
yeah, there is for me, again, I'm sharing, if I'm sharing my resources and I'm helping someone else and possibly developing, a junior team member, or even someone who's new, orienting someone to the effort or the mission. I'm really happy doing that. So
Mhm.
that is a energizing activity.
Good, good. I bet you're really good at it.
Well, I like to think so, because I just I really value my team members, and it means a lot to me. And
Mhm.
it's one of those things where I have formed lasting relationships.
Yes.
Even over 30 years of work, I still keep in touch with folks from 30 years ago. Yes.
Mhm. Mhm.
Which that kind of speaks to your relator sitting
I
there at
was
number
just thinking.
12. So even though we focus on the top 10, 11, 12, 13,
Yeah.
we bring those in as part of our tools as well. So you
Mhm.
have relator at number 12. So what you just said makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
A relator is a person who does enjoy a small inner circle of friends
Mhm.
that they can
Long
connect in
term.
with somebody from 30 years ago, and they'll
Mhm.
just get right back into it like that.
Mhm.
Yes, yes, it's a great feeling. And I'm looking at 13 restorative, and I
Mhm.
just wanted to share with you that this is the second or third time I've taken the Strengths Finder test.
Oh,
And
good, good.
previously, restorative was much higher on the
Interesting.
strengths list, and now
Uh-huh.
it's much lower.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good thing, because I believe I spent a little bit too much time in my life either trying to fix things or people or
Yep.
projects, or
Yep.
Right.
so I think it's a good, healthy reflection if it's lower
Right.
now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And
Restorative can be something that takes us down a dark path when we're trying to fix things that are not our responsibility.
right, they're not
And
our
that's tough.
business.
Yeah, that's tough.
Now, I do want to ask, since you've been able to see multiple
Mm.
results from taking this assessment, what did you notice when you compared them, if you did?
from the previous tests, you mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Well, I'm really intrigued by this developer number 4 that
Uh,
emerged in this test. That was not there previously.
okay.
Strategic ideation and connectedness were previously in previous tests. And then
Okay.
the input piece for this test is really uh, intriguing and helpful to me as well, because it again validates to me this change of learning and um, being immersed in data driven decision making, and
Mm,
analysis, and
Mhm.
ingesting all of those inputs and then sharing those resources. So it's
Mm.
the last two really were a pleasant surprise for me, because it made me feel like I was, like Linda was saying, I feel like I am on the right path finally. And it's a bit more relaxing.
Mhm.
mm.
Mm. Yeah.
So I've just, the reason I asked is I've noticed that people who have taken the assessment multiple times there's still a core set of strengths that remain pretty much the same in that top 10. They might rearrange themselves a little bit. Like you said, developer evidently came up from lower this time. So that's important to you. These are all things that are important to us now.
Right.
But I just really believe that the core of us is basically the same and pretty steadfast through, the duration of our life, but these other things kind of just float in and out periodically. That's my thoughts. Linda, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, yeah. I think saying the core of a person, the domains tend to stay pretty similar over
Mm-hmm.
time.
Mm-hmm.
But if someone has had a significant life event,
Yeah.
whether trauma or healing from trauma, that can pretty significantly change their strengths report. Makes a big difference.
Yeah. Thank you for
Yeah.
bringing that up. I appreciate that. And I just want to quickly look at a few from the bottom
Mm-hmm.
because
We
sometimes
we love to
people,
touch on the bottom
like,
strength.
I don't like to spend a lot of time there,
Yeah.
but I like to just pick out a few that are kind of interesting, like adaptability is at number 9, which is in the present moment, in the now, being able to move with the flow of what's happening right now in front of you. And then you have context at number 34, which is like the
Makes sense.
opposite. Like it is
Yeah.
all about the past, looking at the past,
Uh-huh.
making decisions based on the past. And like, so it's no surprise to me and Linda that those are at two opposite ends of
Right.
the report.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And then it was interesting to me too that communication is at number 33, which that's what you're spending your life doing is communicating, getting
Yeah.
those stories out, getting, telling people, sharing people what's happening. And so it was kind of surprising that it was right down there. I don't have a good explanation for that.
Well, I think this is a testament to the fact that when we're passionate about something, we use our strengths to do the things that are in the bottom strengths to do
Yeah.
them our own way, in
Yeah.
our own superpowers. The definition of communication is easily putting your thoughts into words, whether it's verbal or written. So you have with, maybe you can tell us of your strengths that you see there. What helps you to communicate your thoughts?
Interesting question. And I just want to note, I do think that communication in those previous strengths finder
Mm,
tests, I think that was in the top 10
okay,
communication
fascinating.
previously. I think it was maybe one of the lower 5. But
Hmm.
back to your question,
Hmm.
which of my strengths is helping me communicate? And I would say that there's just a real shift going on. I'm definitely interested in creating still and learning and that aspect, but I do find myself just so much more interested in teaching and in sharing, but also in guiding people. So it's more like, how could I use communication to create another guidebook or create another resource that I could then share with people? So it's it's more, I want to say it's less about me and
Mm.
more using communication to achieve a sort of a greater goal with other people and helping folks either learn something or master something, or like I say, get oriented or get up to speed or help them in some way.
Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
see your connectedness, your developer, your
Mm-hmm.
input
Yep.
in there. Just that desire to guide other people, to bless them with the knowledge that you've acquired, and that it can positively affect their lives. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not just about you talking, you
Mm-hmm.
saying the things.
Yes, that's really the nail on the head. I just feel so grateful for all the people that helped me along the way. I'm really at a stage in my life where I just want to pay it forward as much as possible, especially for folks who have not had the advantage of being helped or supported or even encouraged. That's my new mantra is that encouragement is the greatest gift that we can give each other. So
Absolutely is.
so that's
Spoken like a
definitely.
true developer.
I was just gonna say that's your developer talking all over that.
Yeah.
And I want to point out to people listening, you have no influencing strengths in your top 10, but you
No.
are a big influencer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you
Oh,
are influencing people with everything that you do,
Yeah.
guidebooks,
Yeah.
books, the way you speak. So I just want to say that so that people, when they look at their strengths and they see something missing, that doesn't mean you're not using other strengths to substitute for that. So
Mm-hmm.
I thought that same thing when I saw my strength report. Like I had no influencing strengths
Yeah.
my first one. Like I felt a little bit bad about myself, but I've since learned that it doesn't matter. We're all influencers in different ways. So don't let what you're seeing in front of you, you
Right.
know, get you down and like, oh, I don't have communication high. That must mean I can't
I
communicate.
can't
No,
write.
no, no,
Yeah.
that's not true.
Yeah. No. I had a session with a client on Saturday, and his goal was to inspire people in his own way. And he had the kind of the same as you. All of his inspiring, influencing strengths are in the bottom. But his heart's desire was to inspire people. And so he does that through executing and relationship building. And he does a
gotcha.
great
Yeah.
job. Yeah,
Yeah, that's really it. I'm just so grateful for this session today. It's just your expertise is just so valuable. Thank you both so much, and
you're
it's
welcome.
really giving me a lot of new ideas. Of course.
Of course.
Yay.
The
And
ideation person is woohoo.
yeah, exactly. But before we let you go, because this has been a really delightful conversation, and we could talk for another couple
We
hours, I'm
could,
sure.
yeah.
But in terms of um, which one do you like love the best, or which one you're like, oh man, I love using that strength? Because
Mhm.
sometimes these strengths in our top 10, we don't use them all the time. Like there's a few that, like I know for myself, there's a few that I use all the time. I just default to them. And then there's some that I struggled with, like, oh, I don't know about that one. And I had to learn to appreciate it. Is there either one that you love or one that you're like, yeah, I don't know?
I would say the one that I love is ideation.
Mm.
It is, and I think it was either the StrengthsFinder or the Myers Briggs. One of those tests told me years ago that my goal should be to have someone hire me to pay me for my ideas. And
Ah,
I thought, gosh, that would be,
wouldn't that be amazing?
yeah, that would be a 10 out of a 10 for me. So,
Yeah, really.
but I'm just happy to be on a team to bring that, like you say, out of the box thinking and creative problem solving. So I think my favorite would be ideation. Yes.
Mm. Is there any that you have a little like, like a love-hate relationship with? And you might not, and that's fine.
Definitely the analytical.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah,
And that, again, we learn to embrace those strengths that we're not
Mhm.
real sure of. And it may be very obvious to other people that we're using that superpower, but it's
Right.
not always obvious to us. Like, oh, I am? Like, I didn't know that because
Yeah.
we're so close to them and they're so organic and an
Right.
innate ability for us that, like, we don't even realize how special they are.
Mhm. Kate,
So,
you said something earlier about data-driven something
Decisions. Yeah. Yep.
decisions. And
Yep.
I'm like, oh, that's her analytical puppet in
So
Yeah, I'm sorry. It is true. It is just it is true because I don't want just the anecdotes, and I like
Right.
you were saying about
Yeah.
folks who make decisions based on emotions. I definitely want the data. I definitely
Yeah.
want the I want the science. I want people to cite their sources, which is
Right.
which is
see, so you are
Could
using
you
that
please
analytical.
prove that to me?
yeah,
Not
yes.
on a whim. Prove it.
Yes, any article that starts with many people think, I want to
Yeah.
say, okay.
Yeah, that's but
Oh
ones
my
that
God.
start with a scientific study shows, you're like, okay, now that one I can get behind.
Yeah, yeah.
This has been so delightful.
Thank you for
And
joining us.
oh yeah, we are so appreciative. We love when we have a live person here.
Yeah.
Is there any other any question you have for us before we sign off?
Oh no, I'm so grateful. This has been so helpful, and I'm just so amazed at your expertise and your interpretation of these results. So thank you again, and thank you for your valuable time.
Yeah, you're
Thank you
very
for your
welcome.
valuable time as well. Like I
Yeah,
said,
yeah,
we love
we
nerding
enjoy
out
it.
on this.
Yep.
All right, everyone who's listening, thank you so much
Yes.
for listening in. Kate Goggin, again, thank you so much. Check her out. We'll make sure we link her
Yeah.
contact information in this
Yeah.
description. She's got all kinds of resources that you would love to know about. So make sure you check her out. And Linda, thank you so much for your
Yeah.
expertise. And thank you
Always
so
fun.
much to everybody who's been part of this. Like, subscribe, share this if you found this valuable. All right, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.